With a statement win, and that statement came from this man. Tyrese Haliburton last night became the first player in playoff history to put up at least 30 points, 15 assists, 10 rebounds, and record 0 turnovers. He also became the first Pacer ever to record multiple career playoff triple-doubles. Here he was after the game.
I feel like I let the team down in Game 3. I felt like I could have been so much better. So I felt like I responded the right way today.
We've been a team that has kind of found a way to do the impossible when it always seemed impossible. You know, we just keep fighting. So it's going to be a testament to our whole playoff run. You know, now we have to be in one of the biggest fights of our lives and of our season, and it starts with next game.
That's tomorrow night, Game 5 in New York. Chiney is here, and the win man, I will start with you, as you can take, I know you're too big a man to do it, but you could take a victory lap. You told us all before these playoffs started that the Pacers were a championship contender hiding in plain sight because of their seed. They, and in particular Tyrese Haliburton, very impressive last night.
Yeah, well, I think when you look at the Pacers, you have to have a coach that has a system that matches the talent. And actually, I think that in a lot of ways sums up the Knicks. The Knicks are there because of those things. But Haliburton is a player who rises above in the playoffs. I mean, he only averages 18 points. I say only like that's a low number. But in the modern day and age when lots of teams have multiple 20-point scorers, you don't see this guy routinely put up enormous scoring numbers like you see across the league, but he is a brilliant postseason player. He has got a number of amazing postseason performances, and this is at the top of the list. And his ability to drive this team and take advantage of the rest of the talent is why the Pacers are on the brink of the finals.
Chiney, let me give the exact numbers again. He scored 32 points, 15 assists, 12 rebounds, and 0 turnovers. What are the right things to say, Chiney, about Tyrese Haliburton this morning?
This was the best performance I've ever seen from Tyrese Haliburton, wire to wire. He's normally a guy that lets the game come to him. Instead, he was in attack mode from the jump. And what I love about Tyrese Haliburton, he loves to go for the win. He loves to go for the kill shot. We've seen that in the clutch. But no, he did this over the course of the entire game. And it really started for me with his three-point shot. He's normally a guy that likes to distribute, to get his teammates going before he looks for his shot himself. Instead, he either scored or assisted on all 8 threes in the first half. He knocked down 4 of them himself. So I was truly impressed in his overall performance, and we're seeing a star born in real time.
Look, guys, if you're not waking up today, Wednesday, May 28th, saying that Tyrese Haliburton is a superstar, don't talk to me about basketball today, right? Like, possession by possession, he's the best manipulator in the game. He manipulated every single play offensively last night by finding the right matchups, by attacking in transition, by giving hockey assists. He was direct and aggressive from the beginning of the game, and he affected and accounted for over 80 of the team's 130 points. Between points and assists, over 80 points of the team's 130. That is a superstar that we saw on the grand stage.
He played like a superstar. I'll give you that. He played like a superstar. The Knicks let him play like a superstar as well. Early in that game, their defense was awful, and he was smart. He was aggressive. It was the perfect storm. He had a bad Game 3. He was frustrated after that game. And I give credit to Rick Carlisle, too, for getting in his head and saying, I know you want to pass. I know you want to make sure that everybody's getting the basketball. As Chiney said, she's absolutely right. He doesn't normally look to be the aggressive scorer. He was in the first quarter of that game. That set a tone and had the Knicks on their heels. Once he hit a couple of those deep threes, then all of a sudden they're like wondering, now what do we do? Do we play up? Do we play back? He had them completely on skates. He played like a superstar in this game when it mattered the most, and he does embrace that role of a guy. He does the Brunson-Selly, the choke thing. He's loving every minute of this series and playing against the Knicks because he's playing up that Reggie Miller role.
So when you say played like a superstar, is that a caveat to him being a superstar?
Getting there. Yeah, getting there.
I mean, how many other things does he need to do to prove that he's a superstar?
He probably want to get a championship.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay, Anthony Edwards hasn't gotten a championship.
Yeah.
Wemby hasn't gotten a championship. There's a lot of other superstars that have not gotten championships, but he's made game-winning shots in each series that have been defining moments.
Yep.
He's one win away from getting the stage
close.
to himself next week.
Yeah, that's what it is. And again, superstars box office. Superstars, I'm buying a ticket to watch that guy play. I don't care about his team. I don't really like the team that's in my market, but I want to see that guy play. And the way he played last night, that's the kind of player you buy a ticket to watch.
Shannon, let's make an obvious point. The Knicks are a bad defensive team. They're just bad. They have the moves they made during the offseason, they made themselves, which is the opposite of what you associate with Tom Thibodeau normally. They've turned themselves into an offensive team, but I'm just looking at the numbers. In the Pacers' 3 wins in this series, Janae, they have 138, 114, and last night, 130 points. To me, it's not a whole lot more complicated than that.
Yeah, this was the second worst playoff performance defensively by the New York Knicks. And I was just watching the game getting more and more frustrated because the help side wasn't there. The winning of the point of the attack was not there. And when I think about Jalen Brunson, going into game 4, he had the worst defensive rating of anyone on his team. And I watched the game, and it felt like almost every possession he was on the floor. Now, he takes a beating, and he's a stellar player. He is a superstar, too, if we're going to talk about people that, really are box office. But on the defensive end, they attacked him. And I think that was the biggest issue because your best offensive lineups can be defensive liabilities. And we've seen that happen time and time again. I was really frustrated because I was like, man, you have a team that is fully capable, but the connection, the on a string just was not there defensively for the Knicks.
Like it was in game 3. That's the biggest difference. It just wasn't there in this game.
Brunson was a minus 16 last night in his plus minus. And Winman, you and I were chatting briefly before the show came on today. I think the MVP of this series is Rick Carlisle, who is coaching is behind off because if you look at the Pacers' 3 wins, Aaron Nesmith wins them the first game, Pascal Siakam wins them the second game, Tyrese Haliburton wins them last night's game. So it's not just one guy who's doing it for them. And the Knicks are a flawed team. They have significant flaws on the defensive end of the court, and Carlisle, I think, Wendy, is doing a masterful job of exploiting those in all of the Pacers' wins.
Let me put a number on it. So last night, they put Jalen Brunson in pick and roll 25 times. They targeted him 25 times. And a lot of it was just Haliburton barreling downhill. And, sometimes he did end on the ground, but sometimes he just sort of got out of the way. And, he does compete when he can, but, as Alan referenced, a lot of times it was just very easy for the Pacers to get where they wanted against him, whether that's Brunson's issue, whether that's the guy he's working with's issue. In this series, when Karl Towns and Jalen Brunson are on the court together, the Knicks have been outscored by 24 points. It wasn't terrible last night. It was -4 when they were together. But that number, when you've got your 2 All-NBA players playing together, that needs to be better. And that's not saying that they're terribly flawed players. That's an ode to the Pacers and the way that they're able to attack and put the Knicks on their heels. And that does go to Rick Carlisle and the game plan. And it also goes to Haliburton and the guys for executing it. And I will just say the same thing I said the last series when the Pacers were taking out the Cavs in 5. Had the Knicks not given away game 1 or let game 1 go away or however you want to frame it, this is it's 2-2, and you're going back to the Garden with home court. They did the same thing to the Cavs. They stole game 2 from the Cavs, and it was the same situation. After game 4, it should have been 2-2. So we can talk about the Knicks' flaws, but had the Knicks taken care of business on their home court in game 1, their margin for error would be bigger at this point.
Pacers have dropped every game 3 in every series and are undefeated in all the other games throughout all the course of the other series. Interesting. I will say vice versa for Tibbs. And shout out to Aaron Nesmith because I think he did a really good job. But still, the last 8 minutes, if you go back and look at the game log, there's no way in hell, today being a Monday morning quarterback, that Jalen Brunson can take 3 shots in the last 8 minutes of a game, especially when the game got to 6. I know Mikal Bridges started to get it going. I know that at times, hey, Jalen Brunson's seeing a double team. But, Alan, sometimes forced shots are better than open shots from other players. You can always get the ball back after you give it up and relocate it. We're talking about the best closer in the NBA today. We're talking about Captain Clutch. For him not to